Hey, what is up, guys? Peace and light to all of you. It's me, Traveling Sista, and today I'm gonna do a Q&A video, basically. I've been receiving a lot of questions about moving to Tanzania, about visiting Tanzania, and I can't get to all the emails in a timely fashion sometimes. So I thought, why not make a video, right? Why not make a video explaining and answering questions that you guys might have about trips to the motherland. I'm going to be using my phone today, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. So, without further ado, let's just jump right in. This first question comes from an email. In the city of Arusha, and I'm going to cover Dar es Salaam too. What are the modes of public transportation available for people with children? That's the first part of the question. So I'd have to say that the public transportation is pretty good in the major cities. Dar and Arusha and even Zanzibar are the main ones that I know because that's where I spent the most time. So that's the only places that I can answer these questions for. But I would have to say they're pretty good. The main one is called the Dala Dala, right? And I'm going to throw in some pictures of the Dala Dala so you guys could kind of get a feel for what it is. The Dala Dala is pretty much like a mini bus or a van, and it goes around and picks people up. They don't have specific stops per se, or they are not on a specific schedule, like a time managed schedule. You just wave them down. You see them driving down the street, you wave them down and they come and pick you up, and according to where you're going from that point is how much you pay. Okay, and so I haven't paid anything more than 2,000 T shilling, which is equal to about 90 cents, 90 cents in US dollars, which is relatively cheap. And that's for one way though. One way per person, about 90 cents, 2,000 T shilling, depends on how far you're going. Now, the thing about Dala Dalas is, depending on what time you catch them, during the day, they can be so crowded and very uncomfortable. If you catch it during rush hour, which is when people are going to work in the morning between the hours of 7 and 9, and when people are getting off from work between the hours of 3 all the way up to like 7 p.m., you're gonna be standing, okay? You're gonna be standing on these buses, which can get very uncomfortable, especially if you have children. Now, what they do with children a lot of times is I'll see people, take their kids on the bus and sit their children in someone else's lap. It's a normal thing out there. It's not odd to see a mom sit her kid in some complete stranger's lap. And that's what it is, because people understand that the children need the seats. 9 times out of 10, like if I got on the bus right now because I'm pregnant, they might give me the seat, okay? And I say might because this bus system is really first comes, first serve. It's not like here in the States where if you see an elderly person get on the bus, most people will get up and give them their seat. No, if you're elderly and you chose to get on the Dala Dala at that time that it's going to be crowded, you're probably going to be standing. It really doesn't matter. Every now and then you'll see people, give up their seat. But that is one mode of transportation. Sometimes the AC doesn't work, which can be a bit much, especially if it's hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, in these Dala Dalas, they should probably be able to fit about 15 people comfortably, but at any given time, it's between 18 and 22 people on these Dala Dalas, and it gets really crowded. You're almost sitting on top of each other. But it is a very reliable mode of transportation if you don't mind standing. Another mode of transportation, which happens to be my personal favorite, is called the Bajaji, or a tuk-tuk. Now, the Bajaji is like a 3-wheeled cart, basically, that takes you from one place to another. And the prices can vary greatly. It all depends on where you're going and how long the ride is. I'll say I haven't paid any less than 2,000 T shilling for a ride. And like I said, that's about 90 cents. Let's just round it up to $1 so, we can kind of be even or whatever. I haven't paid any more than $1 for a one-way trip to a place, but yeah, it's comfortable. It's breezy. It's really nice when it's hot outside. And you get there fast because they're able to maneuver through the traffic. Yeah, that's a very good mode of transportation. Now, they're more prominent in Dar es Salaam, not so much Arusha. I've seen probably a handful, like maybe 5 or 6 up in Arusha, and which rolls right into my next mode of transportation is the motorcycle. The motorcycle, or the BODA is what they call it. Now, this is a very fast mode of public transportation because A, you get through the traffic, B, they're just fast, you know what I'm saying? And they can go on all terrains. Up in Arusha, it's very hilly and a lot of dirt roads, and the motorcycles they use here the motorcycles they use in Arusha, they travel very well on dirt roads. The thing is, it's not that safe for children though. I see a lot of people with their children in their laps when they're riding on the back of motorcycles, but me, as just my own personal thing, I wouldn't recommend it. Now, if you're just traveling alone or you're traveling with someone else, like a grown person, you know, it'll be 3 people. It'll be the driver, you, and your homie on your back, and that's a normal thing. It's a normal thing in Tanzania. That's an okay way to travel, but I wouldn't recommend it with a child. It's all up to you though. It's all up to you. And these can cost you anywhere from 1,000 T shilling, which, let me break it down for you. Globe convert. Okay, so 1,000 T shilling is about 45 cents. So 50 cents for a one-way ride at the minimum. Now, like I said, it depends on how far you're going, just like with the bajaji. Now, during rainy season, I hate it because you're just getting rained on, and nobody wants to get rained on all the time. Especially up in Arusha because, like I said, there are a lot of dirt roads, and dirt plus water equals what? Mud everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't want to get dirty, or you don't want your hair to be blown everywhere, or, you know, whatever the case may be, then I wouldn't recommend the motorcycle. So the second part of this question is about how much can you spend on public transportation per month. And I say you can spend between 20 and 40 US dollars a month on public transportation. Depends on how active you are. If you are always going to town, or if you live in town, then it's not, you know, you won't be spending that much. But if you live in a more rural area, like outside of town like I did, then you're going to be spending probably about $3 a day on public transportation in total. Now, the thing where I spent the most money on my daily trips, if I made, you know, daily trips to town, was the BODA, the motorcycle, from my house to the front of the village. Now, the village that I lived in was called Ilboru, and it's off of the main road, but okay, so here's the main road, and you have to go up these hills and kind of go around, you know, it's deep. So it's probably about a little less than a mile. It's a little less than a mile that I would have to walk every day to get to the main road from my front door, which, I mean, if I had time, then I wouldn't mind walking it. You know, I used to walk it quite a bit actually, but when I was pressed for time and I had things to do and places to go, yada yada yada, I would catch a motorcycle from that point all the way to the front, which would be 2,000 T shilling per day, per ride. Well, not per day, 2,000 T shilling per ride. So that'd be 4,000 T shilling back and forth, which is roughly $2. Okay, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot, but if you tend to watch your money like I do and try to penny pinch, that can accumulate to, you know, to some money over time if you don't want to spend that much money. Yeah, so 20 to 40 US dollars a month. And if you live in town, then you won't have to worry about catching anything from the main road to where you're going. You just won't have to worry about it. How did you adjust to the water in Tanzania, and did you use any purification methods to avoid getting sick? I adjusted to the water just fine. Now, they do recommend that, okay, if you have a bottle of water like this, because they sell bottled water everywhere. Okay, if you have a bottle of water like this, the level of my water is about to the brim. Slowly implement the local water, the tap water, into your bottled water. So let's say I would probably add tap water until it was almost to the top, and mix it and drink it every day so your system can get adjusted to the natural water. I didn't do that. I actually didn't do that. I might have done it probably about 5 times, but I didn't experience any stomach ailments, anything outrageous like that. Some people do suggest that you boil the water before you drink it. And I honestly didn't know that until I was about 3 months in Tanzania. And I was like, well, it's kind of too late now. I've been bathing in it, eating with it. Nothing happened though. The water does have like a little bit of a sweet taste to it. It's actually pretty good to me. It tastes better than our tap water here. And I usually like to slice a lime and squeeze it in there. That's if I do drink the tap water. But like I said, they have so many brands of bottled water available at the store. And a bottle like this, might cost 500 T shilling. Which, let me get out the handy converter app. I suggest that you guys download this before you go. It's called Globe Convert if you have an iPhone. I don't know what it will be called on the Android. I don't think the Android platform or the Google Play Store carries this app, but they do have other conversion apps, like currency conversion apps, and it's been so helpful. It's been so helpful. So, like I was saying, 500 T shilling, that's 22 cents, okay? 22 cents for a bottle like this. For a big bottle of water, like a liter, you're gonna pay probably 1,000 T shilling, 1,000 to 2,000 T shilling, depends on the store that you go to, the area that it's in, and all that good stuff. And like I said, 2,000 T shilling is 90 cents. Might as well say $1. Not bad for a liter of water. Yeah. Have you heard anything regarding schooling in Tanzania? And how would you say the level of schooling in Tanzania is compared to the US? Now, I do have, which I call them my nieces and nephews because they're my fiance's nieces and nephews, so they're my family too. I do have a bunch of school-age nieces and nephews, all the way from the age of 5 all the way up to like 17. And from what I see, because I've been over their house when they were doing little studies in their workbooks and stuff like that, and their education level seems to be right on par with what I would see as American standards. They're learning the same or very, very similar things to what I see 5 and 6-year-olds learning here. No, I don't see any type of drastic learning curve like in the school system. I will say that high school, you graduate high school when you're 20 years old, I believe. So they do more schooling, like in terms of years, they actually do more schooling than we do here in the US, because by 20 you're already in college for 2 years, according to the average age of people. But they do more schooling. I would actually even go so far to say that they might be a little more advanced than our schooling system. Mind you, I grew up in Virginia, so I don't know how Virginia compares to all the other states. All I can give is my account of what I've seen and what I've learned and stuff. But they have a very detailed course in the things that they learn. Like they learn about history very deeply. It's mandatory that like they learn different languages and stuff like that, whereas for me it was an elective. Spanish was an elective for me. But I don't know, I feel like it's very in-depth, a little more in-depth than what we learn here. And another cool thing is for college, okay? Like the main university out there in Tanzania, I can't remember what it's called right now, actually. I know they have the University of Dar es Salaam, and then they have a couple up in Arusha. It's quite a few colleges, universities in Tanzania. But to get a 4-year degree, you're not going to pay anything more than $5,000, okay? 5,000 US dollars. And I'm like, yo, Tanzania got it right with that. Like, because I mean, I have friends and family who came out with a bachelor's degree and they're like $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 in debt behind these 4-year universities, behind Sally Mae taking your soul, you know? And I'm like, dang, you know, and these are accredited colleges in Tanzania, you know, like legitimate. They're not some just sham colleges like pop up, you know what I'm saying? They're good universities, okay? And it's very cheap, even as a foreigner. Now, I know they do charge foreign fees and stuff like that, and I had looked into one, taking a course in gemology, but I can't remember what the fees were, but it was not that much. It was still very, very affordable. The fact that you can get a 4-year degree for under $5,000 just blew my mind, and I was like, yo, that's what's up. So just thought y'all might want to know that. All right, y'all, I realize that this is quite a lengthy video, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off right here at the halfway point. But stay tuned for part 2, and keep them questions coming. I'm here to answer them.